That remember, like I told you, I have family down there, and Chris is who I was thinking about with that other thing.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so because he's real into that. So he'll make a way. But so what would you say? You started the live joint night?
I ain't started live joint. But I was telling God that I might have to hold off on a little, or it's just gonna be delayed a little bit.
Oh, the joint, right.
Because I told him that we was looking at maybe doing something in Tampa.
Right.
I say don't hold off on that. Like at the very least, start throwing out the feelers for the bread so you can get the money in.
You can
so
still
when you're
do
ready
that,
to kick
though.
it off.
Yeah.
Because the money process is going. It's not like you apply for the money today. That shit is here tomorrow or 2 weeks. That shit can take up to 90 days, 120 days, 180 days.
Okay.
Don't put it on hold. Go ahead and drop them applications for that bread and
Okay, I'll get
because a lot of that is behind the scenes stuff too. And like to be honest with you, us moving forward, a lot of times, now you'll kick in heavy duty when you need it, but right now it's gonna be a lot of me doing stuff and then asking you questions, getting feedback. You know what I mean?
Right.
So no, I agree. I agree with that. God working with you on that. God, you involved with that?
I'm trying. I'm doing whatever the man asked me to do. I'm not, what I mean? Whatever I can do to make sure that it's popping, I'm gonna do everything I can. So I just jumped in from my other device. So I can kick off of this device if you let me in. And
it say it's connecting.
So I'm on that joint. Okay.
But you got to finish that thought though about meeting the young boys where they are.
Well, let's say that for
the no, we might as well wrap right into it. We could start the live joint now.
All right, let me.
And then a little after 8, we come in because this is real stuff too. You okay? There you go, guy.
But you don't you want that conversation in once the show start?
Well, it's gonna bleed into it. We only have 3 minutes.
All right.
So I'm just saying this pre-conversation that we having now, I would like to capture this. And then ease into, we can still do the intro to God and ease into it, but we might as well capture this.
All right, it's about to, let me see.
You come into it talking.
And what's the point we were talking about?
No, you were saying you got to meet the young brothers where they are. Because I was saying, so finish that thought.
Okay.
You going to stay like that, guy?
No, I'm trying to.
Oh. I was like, oh, that's nice.
No, I'm working on it now, man. I'm just looking right.
All right, we live now.
That's cool. Right. It's cool, guy. It's cool.
Right, so I was saying that as far as the young folks go, and when it comes down to crime and violence and the criminal justice system, we have to go out. Meet these young people where they are. We can't subscribe to the notion that young people are going to meet us. And there's a couple of reasons why. One of the reasons why is a reason of credibility, right? In order to actually work with these young folks, we got to reach out into their community, show that we're credible, show that we're from where they're from, and also to take away that pretension that they have, that system. Our young people, our young brothers and sisters, daughters, sons, nieces, nephews, we have an apprehension, a healthy apprehension, right? And because we have that apprehension of the we system anywhere. We have to actually take programming to those young people.
Hey, guy.
Yo.
While you working on your mic, we're gonna go ahead and introduce the show. Your mic is going in and out.
Yeah. All right.
Hey everybody, this is Real Brothers Live, Real Brothers for the Real World. I'm TL. That's my man Stacy.
Yo, what's up?
And we got a special guest, Guy Lang, our brother Guy Lang. He is I'm gonna let him introduce himself so I don't mess it up, because the brother got a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. He was with us one time before,
yeah,
and it was an interesting conversation. And to kind of clue you in on where we are, this wasn't one of the topics, but it was interesting. on the Facebook Live page, the Real Brothers Live, guy put a video up talking about sort of what one of the topics is today. We were talking about gun violence, and so we were having a conversation talking about some of his thoughts on it. Guy, you still there? He's still working on it.
Yeah, he's working on his.
But and what I was saying, Nike, is that, and I know this isn't one of our topics. You know, we're gonna get into them, but I agree with what he was saying. But I also think, and you're right, what he was saying was right. This is how the '90s crime bill got through, because the community was saying, do something about the guns.
Right. Everybody was on, and it sounded like a good idea at the time. But the thing is, the way they went about it and the way it affected our young people was detrimental to everything it was trying to do.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, like, to come back with the same, like, that's what I'm saying. To keep doing the same things over and over and getting the same results, that's a sign of craziness, or either you're not really trying to make change.
See,
you know
now, and I, hey, God, can you say something? Are you on? Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Okay.
There you go.
We can hear you.
All right, cool.
So go ahead, guy, and introduce yourself, and we're gonna get these topics rolling.
All right,
You got that gas station, John, like Shice, huh?
This is like
I'm a student of the community.
Hey, guy, your mic is still breaking up.
Your audio is still breaking up.
It's going in and out.
All right, well, let's keep it moving, and don't let me hold anything up. Keep it moving.
All right.
Well, we still need his intro. This is Guy Lang. Your mic is completely muted now. You got it on mute.
Well, Stace, why don't you go ahead and introduce the topics for the night?
Okay, so we're gonna double back.
Yeah,
we're gonna double back and get Guy set up, and we'll bring him back in. All right, today we got a couple items, Nike. We got a couple items, and let me pull it up so we can see what we're looking at. I know we got DMX. I know that was one of them.
Right.
So, well, you know what? We can.
I want to give a shout out to my man Earl Simmons, DMX, Darkman X. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, he was great. When it came to the rapping and all that, but his life was, if you look at it, was really tragic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was blessed with all that talent.
Yeah.
And
he had demons. I mean, we all
demons,
have demons.
But I saw an interview with him. Some of them demons wasn't really his fault, man. You know what I mean?
And that's and I agree, Nike. And of course the movie will be forthcoming, I'm sure.
Right.
Because
and
like
that's
you said,
really when you say somebody is a product of their environment, he is like that's like he would be the poster child for that.
And unfortunately, it sounds like his introduction into drugs wasn't by choice. He said that
he had his old head
right
him down when he was like 12 or 14.
And actually didn't even put him down, put something in whatever it was they were doing.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
So that's even worse.
Right.
That's even worse. So, and that's why I said his life is so tragic. I mean, he had a nice run. He had a nice run. He made hit records.
But look how strong that brother was. Like, just because, I mean, he went through the drug addiction, jail, abuse, and he still put his footprint on the world.
On the world through our culture.
Right.
Through our culture. And you know what's funny, Nike? And one of the things I say is that
all kinds of people can be great. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, that's true. That's the bigger point. But also, it's like hip hop, like poetry and those other expressive art forms. he was telling a story in each one of his songs. He was talking about the things that he been going through and how the devil was on his back and everything else. I mean, he was the brother.
If you listen to it,
profound.
he telling you like, you know, I'm going through it for real. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying?
And even his struggle, it seems like you know, ending a lot of his songs, he had prayers in a lot of his music. So those were also yells for help, you know. So man, the brother did a lot. You know, the brother did a lot. And it's funny to hear people, to hear everything that's going on this week. Of course, they were playing a lot of his music, and somebody asked me, Nicole asked me, why don't we have a lot of his stuff on our playlist? Because you forget how good his stuff was. Right. You know, you forget about it. You know, so but to hear it again now, it's like, man, that sounds good. You know, he was nice.
Exactly, and like everybody can relate to his struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was so relatable. He like in a crazy, like, you know, psycho kind of way, but everybody he appealed to that side of it. Everybody got that side in them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. But he'll be another one that's missed. And another thing that came up that I didn't realize, he did that verses with Snoop.
Right.
He did the verses with Snoop. Now I didn't see it when it was on. A video just happened to come up the other day, and I saw it. And that verse, it was nice because it helps to also reintroduce those people back into the mainstream. You know what I mean? Bring them up to today. I guess that's a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
You know, so it was nice I'm glad we were able to get some of that before his tragic death. But you know, that brother's gonna be missed, man.
Yeah, he is.
You know,
for sure. But his music will be here forever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Even the young people will be listening to, you know what I mean, years down the line.
Well, hopefully, you know, hopefully. I mean, I you know, I don't know. I think if the parents like what we went through, if the parents kind of continue to introduce them to it, they'll be familiar with it, you know. But I don't know. You know, that's a tough one. You know, that's a tough one. So we had to get Guy back on. We'll get his thoughts on him also. All right. Actually, this next one, Night, kind of feeds into what we were talking about with Guy.
Right.
And that's gun violence.
Right.
Once Guy gets back on, we'll let him talk about it. I think he attended the press conference here in Philly, where they were talking about the measures that they're about to take.
Which is ridiculous because, like he said, they going back to the days of the first crime bill. Like,
and see, and Nike, and that's, I think that's where I was trying to go with it. I don't disagree with you and where Guy was going. I don't disagree. We have to also do other things, but at the same time, the solutions that, from my perspective, the solutions that y'all are talking about are more long-term solutions, which are correct. But what do you do in the immediate? What do you do about all this gun violence that's going on now, though?
You have to start somewhere, right? So the first thing is get the ear of these young people that's doing all this, because do you know that the average person that's doing all these killings is under 20 years old?
Wow, I'm not surprised.
Especially in Philly, man. It's these young guys that's doing all the murders and all that. So we, you know what I mean, we have to somehow get their attention. Let them know that, you know what I mean, it ain't as bad as you think it is. You know what I mean? When you hopeless, you'll do anything, because what you care? You know what I'm saying? If your future is hopeless or you ain't got no prospects, what you care if you go out and shoot somebody or if you gonna do some time? Because it's people out here, it's young people out here that live better in jail than they do on the outside. They get 3 meals a day, you know what I mean? Got somewhere to sleep, you know what I mean? So we first thing we have to do is we have to meet people where they at.
That's what God was saying, right? Can you hear us, Guy? God, can you hear us? Say something.
Yeah, I can hear y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is like,
can you hear?
You have to start somewhere, and you have to let people know. You have to let these young people know that, you know, it's not hopeless. You know what I mean? And if we gonna try to do this, not for you, but with you. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to.
Yeah, but Nike, see, but this is my question though. How do you? I'm not just asking this question rhetorically because I don't know the answer. How do you meet them where they are? How do you meet this? I mean, how do you stand on the corner? How do you meet them where they are? You know what I mean? I think that's going to be the challenge.
That is the challenge. But
you know,
like first thing you have to reach.
I think it's.
Go ahead, guy.
Go ahead, guy.
I was saying, I think that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's kind of going in and out, but we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, I'm working on it.
Okay,
no, you gotta go where they are. You gotta provide programs where these young people are. Meaning, like if you know of a nonprofit or you know of an organization that's working with young folks, or you have an idea that could potentially impact young people, like you have to take that program out into. You can bring that community. You can bring that initiative or that program to the community through a couple of different ways. And I think that we have to focus on credible community leaders when we talk about bringing programming and resources to our communities. Meaning, like if you go through a barbershop, every black man goes to a barbershop. I trust my barber nearly implicitly. I trust my barber to the point where I'm not married, but if I had a wife, they'd be on the same type of level, right? So I say we go into our communities using those types of places as hubs, barbershops, beauty salons.
Right, your mic is muted. Right, your mic is muted, guy. Your mic is muted.
But I hope you can hear us. Like you said, but what I'm saying, like, just like you have to meet people in certain locations, you have to meet people where they at, but you also have to spread the word, right? So
I think that's kind of where God was going.
Yeah,
making those community places hubs.
You have to reach who you can reach. And then hopefully they can reach somebody, and then they can reach somebody. But if you never reach out, then you know what I mean. There's no chance for something to spread or for word to spread. That you know.
Now, and to a certain extent, though, do you also need? I guess you also need. Not I guess. To a certain extent, also just to say it, and this might come out wrong, so help me make it sound right. You're gonna need the community help, meaning. You could also need, because now what God said was I agree with that. Eventually, all of these people, all these men make their way to the barbershop. Right. 9 times out of 10. 90% of them at some point make their way into the barbershop.
Right.
So, what'd you say, guy?
Every one of us.
Okay. No, I'm just saying.
Me.
Right.
Every one of us. I got
right.
Every.
Yeah. Right.
I got you.
That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
Yo, when you up because you got an event to go to, you won't go up at the barbershop, right?
True. I mean, but this is the thing, though. God, what you said was different, and that's something to think about. If you use these neighborhood hubs, and I don't mean just the quote-unquote institutions, I'm talking about the places like the barbershop and those kind of places, because really you're going to need to also go to those barbers and get their buy-in, because that young boy, how wordy is he going to be with any one of us in the barbershop saying, young boy, let me talk to you for a minute, or something like that, versus getting the buy-in of a barber saying, yo, this my man Guy, he got something to talk to you about. You know what I mean? You know,
but that's what I'm saying, Stace. You have to
meet them where they are.
Spread the word, right? So when I say spread the word,
take it a step further.
Yeah, you have to. All right, so you talking to the barber shop, and so the barber buy in, then he's going to talk to,
and he knows
young buck or whatever,
and he knows who needs to be spoken to.
Right,
what you saying, God? What were you about to say?
I was going to say change the whole approach, right? Don't get the barber's buy-in. You got to get the barber needs you, right? Not needs you, but you have to get it. We have to get information from the barbershop from people in the community, from the bodega, from anywhere where people go. And you gotta find out from them, what is it that the community is asking for? What is it that the community is begging for? What resources does the community require? And once you get that, you don't need the buy-in of the barbershop. The barbershop is already telling you what they need. Then you gotta show up, and you gotta be consistent, and you gotta be credible, you gotta keep your word, and you gotta make sure that you meet them where they are. Once you do that, then
you get their ear
with the community. Now the community you're holding hands with the community. You walking hands with the community, making sure the whole. So we're not asking for the buy-in barbershop. What the young boys is talking about at the barbershop. We know who just slid into the barbershop and said, yo, I caught a case. It was a homie. I caught a case for a ratchet, a biscuit, and now I'm looking at 10 to 20, whatever. They talking to those people at the barbershop. They looking for information. They looking for advice, and they looking for people to tell them what to do. So now you already know that. You don't need to buy into the barbershop. The barbershop is already telling you what it needs. Now you bring that to the barbershop. That's what I meant. For you. This is how we plan to curb these issues. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was saying.
And also, just like that program we was talking about with the
absolutely,
you know, with the going to the prisons, you know, and teaching brothers that's getting ready to come out a real meaningful skill like IT and all that. You know what I mean? And that way you give them a way to fish. You're not giving them a fish, but you're giving them how to fish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same time though, and it has to be kind of to borrow the term that we used last week though. It's an all directional approach, because you still have to do something immediately. Right now, things are going buck wild. You know, as far as murders, shootings, you still have to do something immediately. So, and this is where the challenge comes in. Because you still need that presence. You still need that presence of the police. Now, God,
no.
You go ahead.
And how about we change the gun laws too? Like,
what I was going to say was, no, you know what? I don't think we got to change the gun laws, and I don't think that I don't think we need more cops in our communities. No way, no how. We need less cops. We need less policing in our communities. That's part of the problem, if you ask me.
Or maybe a different form of policing.
And this is on the immediate. This isn't on a.
See, but then
we don't need police. Why do we need people to police us? Let me ask you a question.
So you saying that we don't need police in the community at all?
How often do you go out to the county and you see? How often do you go out to the county and you see them policed the way the city is policed? How many police do you see and how often?
I see them though, and well, maybe it's because my radar is high, so wherever I am, I notice when I see police. But
is the answer. I don't think
you don't see police in the suburbs like you do in the city.
Well, of course not, because it's more dense in where you have more people. You need more police. I mean, that's just math. Say it again. And to something God said.
I don't think so. My philosophy and my theory on policing is different.
See, but God, as you said, God put up a link of his. He was talking. He did a live, Facebook Live. He put that link on the Real Brothers Live. So check that out. This is kind of what we're kind of touching on now. But God, at the same time, I don't think that. I don't think, maybe it's a shift in the way that you do policing. And one time before they went through that, trying to go to a more community-based, do we need to get back to that? Yes, but we still can't say that we don't need that presence in the community, because now one of the things you said, Guy, you said that, and I'm gonna paraphrase, so correct me if I say it wrong, and I apologize. You said something
police don't prevent crime.
Right. Now, and I don't know if I agree with that. I think that when they always say it, like when you standing on the corner and you doing something that you're not supposed to, when you see that car come up, do you stand there and continue to serve, or do you walk away?
You walk away.
Now, if Guy is saying,
I walk for a hot minute, but you know what I do? I come right back as soon as the cop is gone.
But Guy,
as soon as the cop slide off, I'm right back on the block.
I agree, but my point is that you still need that presence, because if that cop car never rolled up, you would have never moved. So you still need something to happen.
But I just went back to the same spot that I was in. So him rolling up didn't change anything.
Well, then we'll see. But then then God, let me ask you that question. Then, so you saying that when that officer rolls up, the person leaves, but then when the officer leaves, the person comes back, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is, but listen to this
10.
though. So really what you're saying then, if you need to clear that corner, you're saying that not only do I need the police to ride by, now I need you to get out the car and stand there. And that's what they used to do. Now, both.
Yeah, but you're going back to the Rizzo days. And,
no, but
you don't gotta get them to do that.
But listen to this though. Look at all these parks. Somebody posted a picture up of the parks full of kids out there on a swing set, and they had a squad car sitting right there at the beginning. The reason that those kids couldn't use those parks before are because they would run out. The kids couldn't use the parks because you had so many grown folk in there doing whatever they do. So, but now with that cop car sitting there, playground full of kids. So are you saying that that's wrong? I mean, I think you need to have a balance.
What I'm saying is, I said this in that video too. I said, I started off with this piece in the video. I said, you, Stacy, me, TL, everybody watching this video, this podcast right now, that's our responsibility. That's our fault. Those young people that are out there on the corner serving people, they on the pump, they moving weight, they moving work. Those are our children, bro. Those are our nieces. Those are our nephews. Those are our cousins. Those grown men out there are our uncles. They're our fathers. That's our responsibility. That's not a police responsibility.
Agreed.
That's not a police matter. That's our shortcoming.
Agreed.
That's us.
Agreed.
That's us and our deficiency as adults. An entire generation. So the first step, prior to even having is having to talk to the parents, having to talk with people like you and me, having a conversation like we have on this podcast, telling folks, get your fucking son off the corner because that's your son out there. Right. A lot of these people that's talking saying we need reform, we need cops, this and that. They got a son in jail committing a dumbass crime because they wasn't home. Maybe because they was working 2 or 3 jobs. Right. Required them to work 2 or 3 jobs to feed that kid. Right. Maybe we need that resource, something where a person makes more money so that they have an opportunity to actually take care of the child at home before that child is a problem on the street. So that first step is us. That's us looking in the mirror, being big enough people say, I fucked up. I'm part of that fucking problem that created those children out on the street committing these crimes. I can't point the finger at them all the time and keep saying, I gotta get these kids off the corner. I gotta say, yo, Mr. Parent, Mr. So-and-so, your kid is on the fucking corner. Go get your fucking kid. If you don't get your fucking kid, we got a problem. Because your kid is causing harm in my community. And I'm not gonna stand for that. And the minute we start doing that collectively as a group, as men in our community that care, that give a shit, that's when that part changes. And you don't have to worry about your kid going to the park to play with a bunch of cats on the corner just pumping it on a swing or whatever they doing, whatever. That's where the problem starts. You got to start with the parent.
And then another thing about the police state, right? So if you're going to have a police state, you need to make marijuana legal.
Well, yeah, first. I think that's coming, right?
Because, and the reason for that is, it's more cats that get locked up for having some weed than anything else. And like, I haven't never seen a violent offender, or I haven't never seen somebody get high and then go out and want to, start trouble or you know what I mean? Or not as an effect of smoking weed.
What drug they using?
I didn't hear what you said. Would you say, God, repeat that?
I said it depends on what drug they doing.
No,
I'm talking about weed. I'm talking about
true.
Oh, weed.
I'm a marijuana advocate, right? So
right. I'm with you on that.
I smoke weed all day, like every day.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow. Right.
No,
right.
Seriously, like.
I mean, you don't gotta show us. We believe you, Knight. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I believe you.
Like, so what I'm saying is, we need to be legal, man, because ain't nobody like somebody that smokes weed and then go shoot somebody or do that. They was gonna do that anyway. That ain't had anything to do with the weed.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Well, that's coming. That seems to be coming now anyway. Actually, that flows into one of the other topics. New York just legalized drug, didn't it? Yeah. Now, how do they do it though? Is it all weed or just what, medical? What did they do? Is it just a blanket legalization of weed?
I don't know.
Is God trying to say something?
It said, as far as I know, it's legal. That's all they got to tell me.
I mean, see, but Nike, I mean, so, okay, the benefits of that then. So do you think that...
Hey, my young buck, Patrick Hargett, he said that weed, they just legalized weed in, it'll be legal in Virginia on July 1st.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's coming, but are you tying that into some of this violence that we have now? So you're not tying those two together?
I'm not tying the violence, but I'm tying that into the incarceration.
The prison. Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
There's a lot of people getting locked up on some nonsense. I
agree. And again, I think that's going to continue. I don't think you can stop that, But I was for legalizing that. Personally, I think legalize all drugs, if you ask me. I think because, to your point, Knight, if somebody was going to take a gun and go in the corner and shoot somebody, then they were going to do that anyway. With all drugs, if somebody was going to do it, they were going to do it.
Like, you got that meth and that what's that other shit people be eating,
so now
people face off? That bullshit.
So now God gonna go sit in the king's chair. And you see what I'm saying? Hey, God, you look like Biggie, man.
You need to let Shice bar that joint, like
King Guy. Right. But the reason that I say that, Nike, is being consistent. And I understand what you're saying, but you making it illegal is not gonna stop it. So therefore, if somebody wants to smoke crack, you're not going to stop them from doing it first place. Second place, if it's legal, now you have more things that you can do to help control it. Now you can tax it.
And you can
make sure
it.
Right.
And you can use the money from the taxes to open up
fund some of these programs
and all that kind of stuff.
There you go. Yeah. And you know what? And now we talked about this one of our first shows. I think that making it legal helps to take away the black market aspect of it. So now you don't have a lot of young people. First thing they're gonna say is, I needed to make money, so I turned to hustling. So now they're out there protecting their territory, the whole nine. If the young boy out there selling crack, but I can go get it from Rite Aid, I'm probably not gonna get it from the street.
Right.
So now the young boy's gonna have to think of something else. So, and there comes the programs that God's talking about. But now you have to give them another option. Okay, well, you can no longer sell crack because you can't compete against Walmart. So now we have these jobs programs that you might as well get down with, because the black market aspect of it is gone.
I think. Listen, what's what I think.
That sounds good.
As far as the legalization of any substance that's unlawful right now, you got to include people of color. You got to include black folks in that discussion. You got to include them in the implementation of legalization. You got to include them in the distribution, the marketing, the wholesale. We have to be a part of legalization of any controlled substance, because for so many years we've been affected negatively and impacted negatively by drug sales that weren't lawful, right? So now that they're lawful, you got a bunch of white cats sitting up in a somewhere making a ton of bread, and black folks have been left out of the equation. And now we talk about giving them some program off the side, shoveling shit down at the recycling plant or some shit like that. No, they need to have those multi-million-dollar positions in the drug trade once it is legalized. So we got to be a part of that conversation, and we got to make sure throughout the process of those things becoming legal that we are a part of the conversation, and we are a part of the legalization.
That's exactly right. Because you see how we us three can sit together and come up with an idea that would be beneficial to the whole thing, like criminal justice, weed reform, all that. Like if we can come up with a valid idea for it, the politicians could too, but they don't want to, because they happy with the status quo. They like black people getting locked up in droves. You know what I mean? They're not trying to change the system. It's
part of capitalism. That's part. That's the nature
and
of
actually,
capitalism.
God, now see, and that's going to be the challenge because what you just said is the truth. You know, of course, when they come out, and this could be intentional. When they come out with the same way they did with weed or liquor or everything else, you have to have a license. The license is going to be sky high, and you know, so now now you're talking about cats being locked out of that process because they don't have access to resources. So now you right
so
back
we
to
got to
square
make
one.
sure they got it.
Yeah, the first thing you have to make sure that they have access to it, access to resources. Yeah.
Go ahead, guy. What were you about to say?
Well, I think like we was talking, and this is a piece. This is one piece of reform, and not just criminal justice reform. This is one piece of reparations in America for Black folks. We have to be included in everything. There are so many things that we sorely need in our communities. And I was saying this before, and I keep saying it. You'll hear me say it throughout. It's a theme in my life right now. You need mental and behavioral health services and professionals in our communities. You need education in our communities, effective education, not the rinky-dink public school education that they're giving out right now, because right now we are relying on our oppressor to teach our children, and that's never a good equation. Yep. Also, we need recreation. Folks need to have something to do, right? So we were talking about recreation centers and parks and playgrounds. So kids don't have any place to play. We need to, just amplify our ability to provide that resource for young people and older people too. People our age, right? We need recreation so that we can stay out of trouble. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. In addition to that, we need social services. You got folks walking around 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, still don't have a fucking ID. You know what I mean? A valid piece of ID. We need those social services. We need somebody to help folks navigate through different processes in our system, in our establishments, to ensure that they have the fundamental basics of life.
And we have to do something about these voting laws and get these corrupt politicians out of office too, man. Because they're supposed to represent the people, but they only look out for their own interests.
And that crosses over. I mean, that's there you go. That's the foundation of the whole thing in this democracy. You still need to vote the right people in office to come talk to guy and say, okay, guy, what was that you said on that podcast? You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, I think sometimes you have, well, not sometimes, but too many times, you have the wrong people in those places making the decision, and they're clueless.
Right.
So
all the time. Listen, all the time we have the wrong people in those places when it comes to Black people. And I tell you why. We've been on this continent, right? Well, not on this continent, but we've been in America, so to speak, for 402 years just about, right? And that entire 402 years of governing in America, it's always, without a doubt, without question, been to the detriment of Black people in America. Yeah. So I never push politics. Politics is never going to be a form of justice for Black people in America. If anything, it was designed to be the total opposite. So
self-politics will.
But everything you just said, guy.
Self-governance. Correct.
In democracy though, that is self-governance. Because this is why I say that, guy. You with everything that you just mentioned, I agree with 100% of everything you just said. My first thought is, you need to run for office. Because then now you have a lot of people saying,
that's the thing.
Exactly.
We need more people like you
to run for, because that's you need, as they say, if you're not at the table, you're on it. So at least somebody at the table saying, we need to do this, or not even we need to consider this. Consider this. This is what's needed at the park at the corner. If you don't have true people from the community saying that's why you get left out of the conversation.
And that's my whole point for the Black Dollar Blackout. So if we can't show our power, if we not willing to just, it's not anything difficult not to spend money on a specific day. Right. So if we can't come together to do something as simple as that, then maybe we don't need a seat at the table. You know what I mean? Like
maybe something like that needs to be that's got to be a sustained effort. That, I mean, a one day is cool. You can show the power of the people with one day, but you can bring the system to its knees by maintaining that system of withholding our dollars for an extended period of time. You withhold
right, but what
from,
I'm saying, what I'm saying, guy, if you do it on one specific day, right?
It's a display.
Mm-hmm.
It's a display. It shows like, okay, we need to be reckoned with. So, if we don't get social justice, if we don't get, fair housing, if we don't get police reform, get these cops off people's back. If we don't get all that, then we have the power to do that again. And this time we can do it for however long we need to do it to get what we need to get.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't care if we march. They don't care if we protest. They don't care if we loot. Because all these people that all these stores and shit that get looted, they all got insurance. They're not losing out. They're not losing no money.
Right.
We need to show that our dollar, we have as much political clout in this country as anybody else if we just come together.
True,
That's
true.
You know what I'm saying?
I just don't buy into the philosophy that politics is going to get us out of this mess. I think what's going to get us out of this mess, I'm going to tell you, listen, and I'm unadulterated when it comes to our people. I think when we rely on shit like politics or, different incentives or initiatives coming out of the establishment, I think that's where we continually fall flat on our faces, because that's what they want us to rely on them, right? In order to maintain that control and that system of oppression. And as long as we buy into that system of oppression, we will always be oppressed. So my thing is, I don't think politics is the way. I don't think marching is the way. I don't think a lot of that is the way. I think the way is we have to make a demand for what is necessary in our communities. And not just necessary. It's not just necessary. It's a requirement. Justice is something that is rendered to you. It's not something that we should have to ask for. It's not something that we should demand. It's something that is rendered. Like the saying goes, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, render to God what belongs to God. Mm-hmm. A rendering is different than a giving. When you give someone something, you're giving them something. Mm-hmm. You're giving them something that maybe they want, they need, they ask you for, whatever. A render is when it comes to to justice, is a right. It's a human right. Just being born, justice is a requirement at birth. Right. That's something that's owed to you at birth. You have to have it. So I don't think the tool to get there is to ask or even try to implement policies for that. That's human nature. That's a human right. Yeah, that's not something that needs to be written into a piece of paper.
But the only thing though is that we have to deal with the society in which we live, and this society is all about is political. Meaning we live in a representative democracy, and it's economic.
But there's two separate societies, though, Stace. It can't be two separate societies in a democracy. It has to be one. If it's going to work, if the democratic experience is going to work, there has to be only one society.
I agree, but listen to this though, Nike. And what I'm saying is that what I talk about as something we mentioned before, I'm talking about a more than a way of approaching it. It is political. It is economic. It's not just one or the other. I don't think I disagree with God, because I do think that politics is part of the answer. Because again, like I said, if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're not being considered. So I think it's all of those things.
But how do you get a seat at the table?
I mean, but that's again,
for 400 years we haven't had a seat at the table.
Well, but then you could ask. I would have to ask the question: do you think that we're making some progress now? We have made some progress.
We don't want progress, Stace. We
want progress. We just want progress.
No, what I'm saying is
progress is a fiction. There's no such thing as progress when it comes to
our rights. It's either equal or it ain't.
Progress, it's either, listen, I'm gonna tell you why, Stace. Listen to this, peep this. I'm gonna give you a little jewel. I'm gonna give us all a little jewel. I'm gonna give the listeners a little jewel, right? Here's the thing when it comes to progress, right? what America is measuring progress against when it comes to black folks, we're measuring progress against white folks. We're saying to ourselves, these people have been included in this democracy, this experiment for 402 years, actually for about 250 years, since 1776.
Right.
Okay, so if we can measure justice against a race that is called the majority in a country, and we know that there are other races in that same country that have not enjoyed that same equality or equity in that system of politics, of democracy, then any form of progress is a fiction, because we know it's possible for people to be fully included. If we know it's possible for people,
that's my point. He always can articulate what I be thinking, man. Like, I can't say that shit like he can. Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is we've never had to make progress when it came down to white people in America. Why should we as black people accept progress?
But God, but this though. Right. No, Super God. Everything that you mentioned though, and you said it earlier. I don't know if we were live when you said it. You said we have to start somewhere. So once you get that, once you take one step, that in itself is progress.
But
right?
See,
Do you agree with that?
Well, you got to take it to the context that I said it. In the context that I said it, I was talking about young people.
But
what I was talking about was young people
all
and
I'm
getting
saying
young
is that
people off the streets, not as far
all I'm
as
saying
equity
is
in America.
that, but see, when I don't think when people with the example that we were talking about early, talking about the kids playing in the playground, nobody was saying because the white folks get to do it. We were just saying we're talking about quality of life. No one's comparing themselves with the progress or anything that anybody else is doing. All we're saying is that we want the guns to stop. We want the shooting to stop. We want the violence to stop. We want mass incarceration to stop. We're not saying because white folks don't get it. Nobody's comparing it to that. But my point is that you had to use your term. Listen, let me finish this thought though. To use God's term, you have to start somewhere. You can't just wave a wand and make everything where you want it to be overnight. Change is incremental. Change itself is incremental. You know what I mean? You didn't get to see, but what I'm saying on Nike is that God, for you to get where you are now, you didn't just wake up. You didn't wake up like this. You know, you went to school.
I've been knocked over the head 1,000,000 times. I've been pushed to the ground. I had a knee on my neck. That's my point. What I was saying was we flipping between two different things, and the two things we flipping between is one thing is stopping violence in our communities, right? That's one thing we talking about. And then the other thing we were talking about was politics and making progress. With the one thing, when I was saying that we have to start someplace, everybody has to start someplace. This ain't just a black and white problem. You got black folks, white folks, Indians, Chinese. This is a phenomenon in every community. So when I say you got to start somewhere, when we're talking about, reform not even reform, but when we talk about making our community safer, then you have to start somewhere. But when I'm talking about equity and justice, equity in social justice, equity in criminal justice, equity in finance, equity in wealth, and closing that wealth gap. When I'm talking about those things, I'm saying that when we rely on progress, that's something that the establishment says, and you can see it for yourself everywhere when you look around. We allow the establishment to tell us that we're making progress, and black folks need to be satisfied with that, right? But on the
let me ask you this, Stace.
I don't think so. Wait, Stace, let me ask you this.
Let me ask you this.
Let me just wrap up this point.
Okay, all right.
Let me just wrap up this point. And the point I'm trying to make is when it comes down to that progress piece, as long as we continue to allow ourselves to be jaded, to have a veil flipped in front of our faces that says progress, then we'll always be working towards something that's always going to be beneficial fundamentally and financially to one group and not the other group until there's equality. Dr. King said, justice delayed is justice denied, right? You know what I'm saying?
Keep having that carrot on the stick, and we're going to keep on marching.
So, right. So that's why I'm saying we got to dispel with the notion of progress. When it comes to us and it comes to progress, that's just us telling ourselves we're going to be satisfied with these little breadcrumbs. We need to have the whole fucking meal.
And Stace, listen to this. So, like, you talking about the gun violence and everything like that. So if we had equality, let's say tomorrow we wake up and everybody is equal, do you still think we would have as much gun violence? Do you still think we would have as much?
No, not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not at all.
That is a part.
But Nike, but Nike and God. All I'm saying, I don't disagree with y'all. I disagree with again. Well, I don't even say disagree, but I think you have to start somewhere. That's why I say it's a more than one prong approach. It's economic. It's political. You know, it's all of the above. You know, let me read what Shice says. I think Shice is kind of saying what y'all are saying. Policing ourselves, setting policy in our own community, and building our economics is not getting a seat at the table. It's about making our own tables. See, but again, even with that being said, though, you still have to learn how to make a table first. So right. you still have to start somewhere. And as I said to Guy though, if Guy were to say, all right, y'all, I'm running for office. My thing is, give me some literature. I'm gonna tell people about my man Guy that's running for state senator because I believe in him. So again,
but the only thing I got to say about making the tables, right? So let's say, okay, we make our own table. You still got the big table that exists.
See, but
that will crush the small table just because of the way the system is.
Now listen to this though. Keeping that analogy going then, but if we have somebody like Guy at the seat, and I'm just using Guy as an example, as a politician, and he might, when he comes to report back to the community as far as what's happening, he can say, yo, I think they're gonna use that big table to smash ours. And then we're gonna say, well then Guy, you have to step up and say something. But because again, my point is that you still need to be at the table. We can't say, forget politics, and then it definitely can't say we don't want policing in our neighborhood. No, we can't say that. You need all of them.
No, we're not saying that we don't need policing. What we're saying, or what I'm saying, is we don't need an increase in policing. We need a decrease in policing.
I agree with that. Or a different way of doing it.
Or hire police that live in the neighborhood.
I agree with that.
Hire police that know,
I agree with that.
Mike and them down the corner. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
How you gonna bring some white dude down? I mean, and this ain't a racist, it's not a racist thing though. But how you gonna bring a white guy from some other neighborhood, living in the suburbs somewhere, bring him down to North Philly, and then he's scared as shit down there just to be down there. So his interactions is based on his fear. So then you're gonna have dumb shit happening. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be a change. And the only way to get effective change, and I'm not talking about incremental change, you have to do something drastic sometimes. I'm not talking about doing nothing like, violent. I'm talking about showing your financial strength, showing your financial power. And then they be like, man, well, these people organized, you know what I mean? They were organized enough to make the Dow Jones go down a tick, or they was enough to make, you know what I'm saying? The stock market went down a little bit. They'll notice that.
Right.
Because it's all about money, right? So then they'll come to somebody and be like, all right, well, what do y'all want? How can we know this? Now it's a negotiation. Right.
You
get what I'm saying?
I agree, Nike. I agree with you. What I'm saying is, but my only point is that it includes everything. It's not one in lieu of the other. I think it's one in addition to the other, because we still have to live. We still live in this capitalist society, and the way that you're heard in a capitalist society is either through political strength, through economic strength, etc. So you still have to be able to move inside of the structure in which you live. That's my only thing. I think we lost Guy again, didn't we?
No, he's here, I think.
He's still there?
I'm here.
Okay.
No, I'm here.
So Shai said,
I'm here.
He asked, he said TL are Asians. So Shai said TL are Asians not making their own tables, and they are good with that. Yeah, but Stace, Asians aren't treated like black people. Asians, they come to the country and they automatically get their equality.
Well, you know why, Knight? Let me say this.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, that's the answer. We, and this goes to something that God and using the Asians as an example. You know what the difference is, though? And God, you would appreciate this. They stick together. They open their own stores. They go. Now when they see a need that all of the Asian stores need noodles, they open a warehouse, they put their money together, they open a warehouse selling noodles to each other. So, and that goes back to something that Guy said. What's the problem? The problem is us. That's what we're saying. I mean, right, Guy? I mean, correct me when I'm wrong.
But the problem is us. The problem is us, but there's a reason that the problem is us.
All right.
I mean,
the reason that the problem is us is because we've been beat down forever.
Okay, listen, here's the deal. Like you were just talking about, the Asian community and when they come to America and how they are set. They got tax breaks, they get, grants, the whole nine, just for coming here and doing certain types of business. Like when it comes to hair care or cosmetics, there's funds available for those folks. In the hospitality industry, when it comes to restaurants and such, there were grants that were set aside for them after World War II that said, we're going to hook you up. We got you, right? We've never been afforded that. Everybody's saying, black folks pull yourself up by the bootstraps and all that. My man, we've never even had fucking boots.
They took the boots, right.
These folks came here, and they as soon as they stepped on this soil, they were given a set of boots. Right. We've been on this soil for 402, and we still ain't even got strings to put in no damn boots. You know what I'm saying? So it is on us, but it's also on the establishment to say to us, all right, we got to give you your boots. And those boots, in my eyes, that comes in the form of reparations. That levels the playing field. That takes away, all the I think a lot of the mechanisms that are in our community that say to us, this is why you're in poverty. This is why you're criminalized.
I'm gonna say it like this, just like, and this is a quote from my man Reverend Al. He's like, I'm not asking you to give me anything. Just take your feet, just take your knee off my neck.
Just leave me alone. You know what? Now,
I'm not asking you to give me anything, but don't take anything from me. Let me live.
You know what's funny? And that's what Guy said earlier. That's really what he's saying. I mean, we're not comparing ourselves to anybody. We just let me live. This don't treat me. You talk about equity. That's what you were talking about.
Right.
You talking about equity. If you leave us alone, we can make it work. That's kind of what Pat just said.
And like Shice was saying with the Asians, they not asking for anything, but they get it anyway. And then they don't have the foot on their neck. They don't have the knee on their back.
I think that's a different conversation totally. And this is what Pat said. Pat Trigger said, but the real space, they still don't trust us. And I think therein lies the problem with the whole thing, and it's fear. I think that a black folk coming together and rising is it. Chuck D said it. Fear of a black planet. I think that
maybe they should be scared.
I mean, you know what? I mean, because we're not afraid because they're gonna get hurt, but
in
afraid
some circumstances we fear them.
No. But what I was gonna say is, you said maybe they should fear us. I don't think it's fear that they need to fear us that they're gonna get hurt. But I think that they realize that once we get our stuff together and we're on to the races, and you can no longer put yourselves on our neck, and we show that we don't need you. I think you're talking a different world. Then that's my point. I think it's all based on fear. Our culture and our presence is needed. So therefore, we need to keep you at bay, is what I'm saying. I mean, that might sound weird, but I think it's all based on fear.
It is based on fear, but they should be scared because of how they treat people. You know what I'm saying? It's only gonna be so long where you can keep, like, if I'm a dog owner, right? And I rescue dogs. I've had all kind of dogs, right? The thing about a dog, if you kick it, one of these days he gonna bite your fucking leg off.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's only but so much you can push.
And then on the same token, if you got this dog and you feed him, you know what I'm saying? You walk him, you take care of him, that dog will kill somebody for you. That's right. You know what I mean? He will protect your house, he will protect your whole shit. You know what I'm saying? So and that's the difference. Like that. I don't know if that y'all got that analogy.
No, I understand. Yeah. We the dog that's not getting fed and getting kicked all the time.
Right. Listen, Abraham Lincoln made a quote. I can't recall the exact quote, but that quote was something to the effect of we're holding a wild animal. He was talking about slavery. We're holding a wild animal. At some point, it's going to be too dangerous to hold the animal.
Agreed.
And it's going to be too dangerous to let the animal go.
Wow.
And that's where we are right now. We're at a point in America where when it comes down to black folks, it's too dangerous to keep your foot on our neck. And it's also a little bit too dangerous
to let it go.
Take your knee off that neck. But
we sitting on a powder keg.
That's profound. Yeah. That's profound.
And
I agree with that.
And you know, the only thing I'm saying is like, I'm tired of seeing these young people getting killed. I'm tired of seeing black folks getting murdered, and like this whole trial shit. Like that whole trial with the Chavez and all that. That's offensive to me. Especially
the Chauvin trial.
Yeah, the Chauvin trial. Especially that it's going on. I know everybody get they say in court.
Right.
But I mean, how many videos you got to see before you like, yeah, he killed the boy, like send him, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Part of that is also how many of us get our jury thing and then don't go. That's, I mean, right. a guy, something you said that I can repeat this whole conversation. You know what it was?
What?
Who the problem is? And 95% of the time is us. Before we came on the air, God was yelling at us, be saying, yo, we have to stand up and get out there and say, yo, get your son off the block. Well, the problem is us. 95% of the time, it's us. Now, again, I'm not saying
it's us for a reason, though, Stace. You can't understand that. Like, it is us. It is us. Okay. But it's us because we lack in every area. We lack in education. We lack in income. We lack in housing.
See, but again, Nike, but
criminal justice.
But using that Chauvin, but Nike, using that Chauvin trial as an example, if every black person, and this includes me. If every black person that ever got a jury duty summons went, he probably would have had half of the jury. I mean, half of the jury as black.
You got to get selected when you get there.
You do.
I don't believe. I don't believe that either, Stacey.
But Nike. But my point is that if enough of us don't serve and send the form back, the pool that they're pulling from is small, and guy, you're in the legal thing, so you know, I mean, that's reality. Now, can you say that because we're behind financially, so we need that day of work? Can you argue that? Yeah, you could probably argue that, you know. But the facts still remain: enough of us don't participate in the process, so that when those cases come up, we might be a part of it. Go ahead, guys. See you smile.
I agree with you, but I gotta say this though. I agree with you on the fact that we got to participate in certain forms of governance and certain forms of the justice system in order if we want equity in those systems. But you still got to understand where we're coming from. Like, you got to understand where black folks come from when it comes to the criminal justice system. We don't want any parts of it. We don't want to be a part of it at all. We don't trust it, right? And we don't subscribe to it. It's not something that was built to support us. That's a system of governance that was actually built to oppress us. So when we decide that we don't want to participate in that, you gotta kind of say you understand when it comes to folks who don't want to participate in that.
But if you're saying that you don't want to participate, that means you don't want to live in this country, because this country is based on a system of government. Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't say that.
So how can you check out though? How you
know why you can't say that, Stace? You can't say that. You know why? Because just because it's a system that's in this country and a part of this government doesn't mean that we don't want to be a part of this government. All the systems in our country are not necessarily equitable or are fair to us as a race. So that being the case, why would we subscribe to a system that's there to oppress us?
And no, but what I'm talking about is even if you report the jury duty, they know who they want to select. They know what type of person they want to select. They know what color person they want to select.
Yeah, but each person is interviewed though. Each person, each side gets to decide.
What y'all are describing is a thing called voir dire. What you're describing right now is a thing called voir dire. It's a term for it. Voir dire is the process of selecting jurors for a case, and that's the interview process that you speak of. You go through. You have certain challenges, certain preemptive challenges, where an attorney can just tell, "No, get out of here. We don't want you. We want you." But both sides of the defense and the prosecution, they both have a say in who's going to sit.
What's
on
that called? Hors d'oeuvres? Do you say that's called?
Well, he said hors d'oeuvres. No, voir dire.
Damn, that's my nigga.
Hey, God, how you gonna laugh at, man? Oh, you gonna throw that
go to court and talk about something. Hey, you want to be an hors d'oeuvre? They gonna kick you out of there.
Hey, God,
they gonna kick you out of there so quick.
You just ease that big term in there and then laugh at me when I jack it up.
No, Stacey, I thought you was finding me up.
God,
no, it's called voir dire. VOIR. VIRA. Voir dire.
Right
Hey,
there.
let me get some of them hors d'oeuvres down there.
See,
what's up with them hors d'oeuvres?
Give me some of them. And then guy even rolled his tongue right there. Hey, God, man, you don't gotta get fancy on us.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, though.
I know what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right.
You know, did we hit all the topics, Stacey?
No, we got one more.
What's that?
Should more black kids go to HBCUs?
Hell yeah.
All right, why you say, Nike? I mean, wait a minute. But first of all, I guess that's a rhetorical question because I don't think anybody's gonna sit here and say no. But go ahead.
Well, you know, because like, so it depends, right? So, like, only one of my kids went to an HBCU, right? My daughter, she goes to ECU and Brody Medical, but I would have been okay if she would have went to a HBCU, but they paid for her to go for free. So, you know, I mean, I can't.
Wait a minute. So you saying she went to the HBCU because they paid?
No, I said if she would have, I would have been okay if she had went to a HBCU.
So she didn't.
She didn't. She went to ECU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But she went for free though. So I mean, I can't
see. You know what though, and this harkens back to where we left. I mean, unfortunately, and let's use your daughter as an example.
But my son went to HBCU.
Okay, but here, listen to this though. Your daughter's in the medical field.
Yeah.
If she needs to go to the school that can prepare her for coming out, even you guys, you went the legal route. You need to go to the school that can prepare you to fight cases out there in the legal world. Also, and this part is unfortunate. When you put the name of the school that you went to on a resume, that speaks volumes. And it's very unfortunate. Maybe this goes back
What you mean it speaks volumes?
Because unfortunately, if you're applying for a job, guy went to college.
Yeah.
Guy sitting in front of the recruiter and he went up there and said, I graduated from Princeton and Yale. That says one thing versus I went to Philadelphia Community College. You understand what I'm saying?
Community College is not an HBCU.
I'm just using that as an example. What I'm saying is that the resources that go to those, they have strong alumni associations. They have
HBCUs
resources.
do too.
No, but unfortunately, well, you know what though? Unfortunately, Cheney and Lincoln, that's one of the things we got to give them credit for it. I'm just gonna say one of the recent presidents vowed to spend more money with the HBCUs because they had. It's almost like they had their arms tied behind their back because they couldn't compete. They couldn't have the technical. That's
because they're not getting the same funding.
That's my point. That's where I'm going with it.
Because the funding is based on enrollment.
Exactly.
So if you get more kids going,
that's right.
Then you get more funding.
Right.
So
that's the point. But Nike
HBCUs.
But that's my point. That the problem and therein lies the problem because now the school that's trying to get up can never get up because no one is gonna say, all right, I'm going to that one. Because everybody's gonna say, I'm going to the one that has everything.
Once again, that's us. Why not?
But it gets a little deeper. I think this gets a little deeper, guy, and I'm gonna ask you. Guy, if you are looking to you're in the legal field. No, either one of you. Like you're in the technical field, and guys in the legal. When you need to say, okay, I need to go find a job. I need to put something on my resume that looks good. If you had the opportunity tonight to put MIT on your technical thing versus let's just say community college, and guys, same thing, Yale legal versus community college, and it was your choice. Which one are you gonna choose?
I don't understand the question.
You understand my question, guy? Oh, he just froze. I thought he was chilling.
I thought he was sleeping with his eyes open.
Hey, guy. You're Jordan. I thought you was just chilling. I thought you struck a pose and was chilling. Your screen froze. Did you hear my question though?
No, I was chilling. I was listening.
I
wanted TL to go ahead. And I didn't want to interrupt him. But no, I would listen. my resume reads kind of, it reads kind of okay, right? So, and there's a few different schools that are listed on my resume. None of them are HBCU. Now, I didn't apply to any HBCUs when I was a young dude, when I was going to undergraduate school. But I did, however, apply to HBCUs when I was going to graduate school. Like I applied to Howard. I was recruited by Howard University for their law school, and I was accepted there. They didn't offer me any scholarship. I was accepted to 2 other law schools, and one of them offered me a fair scholarship. Right. So, I mean, I went with, where the money was. I can't afford law school. Come on, like, who can afford to go to law school if you're not family who's got.
Now, in that case, I can see you have to go with who offers you the most money.
See, but that goes back to resources, though. I mean, so if those schools,
and we don't have those resources in our community.
Yeah, exactly, right.
If we had, if young Black people in our communities had that as an option, now that's one less child you see shooting somebody on the top of the block.
Right.
Because now that kid is going to law school. There's an opportunity for him. We don't have those opportunities. But I was saying all that to say, of course, I would like to have MIT on my resume. But you know what? I think Howard University is just as good. And it all depends on what it is that you plan to do after you obtain that degree, and what circle you plan to be in with that degree. Because I'll be honest, I could have got my law degree from secondhand down at the bottom of the block underneath a bridge in a cardboard box. I wouldn't give a shit as long as I get this little piece of paper, bro.
That's right.
Listen,
that's right.
As long as I got this little piece of paper and I go take that bar exam, I'm equal to every lawyer in the country.
Agreed.
We've taken that same test.
Well, you know what though? I think the difference now this is something interesting what you just said though, guy. It depends on what you're planning on do with it. Most people, I would think, when they come out, they're saying, I'm going out to go into the job market. You probably came out with another idea of something else that you wanted to go with it.
I went in with a different idea. Going in, my idea was like, listen, I used to make a lot of money. I used to make a shitload of money in my last career. I quit that career. I haven't had a job since in 3 years. But my objective when I quit that job and I decided to go to law school was to support my community. And I know that's, even though I think it's a noble cause. I think it's rewarding. I think it's mindful.
I think you should run for office.
True.
But I'm not making no fucking money, bro. I'm paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like I took a hell of a step back.
Absolutely.
To try to move my community forward.
Took a step back to move forward. In that regard,
it don't matter where I get this degree from, as long as I secured the knowledge, as long as I got a command of the information and I can put it to use in my community. So like I said, it depends on what. Like most people go to school so they can have a good career, so they can take care of their families. My family is already taken care of. They're all out of high school. My 2 daughters are done college. My son starts college in the fall. So I have an opportunity now where I don't have those financial burden, not that they're burden, but those financial responsibilities to take care of, so I can do something different. So it depends on your objective when you go in to get that degree.
Right.
But the experience of an HBCU, I think, is a dope ass experience.
And Shai said that Ivy League schools are regarded higher, and then if somebody had a resume or a law degree from Howard, it would not be seen in the same light as somebody from Duke.
Well, again, it depends on what you plan on doing with it. Because like you said, if you're going for a job, that's different versus what Guy said. I mean, and that was my point. It does make a difference. If you're going to go into if you need a strong resume because you're going to be sitting in front of someone, I hate to use the word, but to judge you whether they're going to hire you or this next person.
But you know what? So in my opinion, and this is just me, if somebody didn't want to hire me and rather had hired somebody from Duke or Yale or whatever like that, then that wasn't the place for me in the first place. Like if they just hiring me, if they not hiring me because I went to a HBCU, that's not a place that I wanted to be in the first place.
Well, true. Now Pat said, Stace, I've been turned down because of that. Now I'm wondering if she's saying she's been turned down because she didn't attend one of those quote unquote Ivy League or maybe schools regarded in a different light. But that can happen also depending on where you're going. You know, you Nike, you're in the technical field. If you're going to go work for Google or even what you do now, you're a programmer.
I taught myself.
That you did. I can attest to that. But what I'm saying is you went into it later. You went into it later in life because you did a whole bunch of other things before you landed here.
Come on, man.
Nike did a lot.
Live TV, man. Come
Nike
on,
did a lot. I'm not talking about those things.
I'm not
talking about those things. I'm talking about you held down a whole bunch of different jobs on Old Guys Avenue before you are where you are now.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, but my point is that, you know, again, it like God said, it depends on what you're planning on doing with it. If you're looking to be sitting in front of someone saying, Mr. Man, hire me because here's my resume, those they make a difference. They make a difference. I'm gonna tell you
something else, man. A lot of these people that get accepted to the Ivy League schools
don't know nothing.
Don't know shit.
I know that.
And most of the time, their parents
either
was alumni.
Absolutely.
Or they pay,
it doesn't make you any. Nike, they say that though. A lot of times, unfortunately, it's not that it makes you any smarter. It doesn't. It's just that name you can. You're in a different circle. That's right. It's about the circle. And
most of the time, those circles in those colleges like that,
and they support themselves.
White. It's going to be rich.
And I think that's the problem.
You know what I'm saying?
Because then that means that if you're not from that circle, you have to be lucky or something else in order to be able to get in.
You just have to grind. That's all.
I mean, see, but Nike,
we again, always have to work twice as hard as they do.
We do
to get the same, or you know what I mean, to be on the same pay scale and all like that. We got to do twice the work. We got to be twice as good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Always like it's been like that for me. I mean, I got to do twice the work that some of my, co-workers might have to do, just so, when they swinging the axe, I ain't the first one up.
Right. All right. So look, God, did you have anything you want to add, man? We're gonna wind it down. Plus, I got a question for you.
Anything I want to add? I just want to, just to wrap it up. If you give me like final words, like my closing arguments. My closing arguments would be to end the wealth gap in America, to level the playing field for folks in our communities. I think that's what I would want to close with. Just end the wealth gap. We end the wealth gap, and then we have inclusion, then we have equity. Boom. That's it.
Okay. All right. Nike, any closing words, man?
Yeah, my closing word is I just will hope that everybody is on board with this Black Dollar Blackout on June the 11th.
June 11th, right.
Coming up. And, I just want to be able to for us to come together just to prove to, Washington, D.C. and the lobbyists and these corporations that, our dollars mean something. We work hard for these dollars. And we going from, we want to be treated a certain way, and we tired of all of the marching, we tired of all the protesting and looting, because that ain't doing nothing for anybody.
Right. So, and what I want to say, and I think one of the most profound things that was said, and I'm a big proponent of this, as a person that was an entrepreneur, I'm gonna echo what God said. I think it's us. I think it's us. I think we, that's it. There's no other way to put it. I think it's we. It's us. It starts with us. It starts and ends with us. I mean, and that goes to what you said, Nike. You talking about us coming together to show our strength economically with the Black Dollar Blackout. That's us, So I'm in.
And I hate to be offensive, and I hope nobody don't take offense.
No. Well, like you said, you just prepare for it.
This is what's on my heart. Like, I feel like if we can't come together to do something as small as not spend, like nobody's asking, donate this money or go to this place and protest and fuck your shoes all up. We're not asking any of that. Only thing we're asking is not to spend money on a certain day. If everybody came together and did that, we are suddenly at the table. And now we at the table, we can say, look, we just want you to get your foot off our neck.
Right,
that's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. Now the question I have for God, hey guys, so where are you, man?
Oh shit, nah.
Oh, wait a minute. Should I have not asked? All right, never mind. He's home. My fault. Hey, guys, he's home. All right, guys upstairs in my crib. Hey, disregard that. Hey, yo,
I'm down
man.
in the basement.
In the basement. Yeah. All right, man. Well, be careful down there.
Let me finish my thoughts, Stacey. What I was saying, like, if we can't come together and do something this simple, then maybe we don't need a seat at the table. Maybe we're not ready for a seat at the table.
Right. True. You know what
I mean?
All right. So, yo, I want to thank everybody for joining, for tuning in today. Guys, it's been a pleasure to have you, man, as always.
Man. You know, pleasure. Always like to have you on, man.
Yeah. You bring a lot. You jump in. You cut me off. You know what I mean? You serving hors d'oeuvres. You know, so it's
and you so articulate, man. A lot of times you got the right way to say what I be thinking. You know what I mean? Or what I'm trying to.
You help clean Nike up.
Yeah.
So it's been a pleasure to have you, man. Yeah.
And you should think about running for office, though, for real. You think it?
We all got 2032. 2032.
2032. Wow. It's 10 years.
10 years?
2032. 12 years.
Okay.
All right.
11 and a half years from now. Yeah, I'm putting my name on the ballot in 2032. I got to run and make the whole shit. We all ready to go. But listen, all I was saying
I'm gonna hold you to that.
We are like-minded. We're like-minded. Please do. Listen, we're like-minded gentlemen, right? We think alike. We all want reform.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, I disagree with that part though. No. All right. Okay. Yeah, I think he's having difficulty now. So, next week, I'm gonna say this real quick, Nike, and we'll talk about it offline.
I'm saying we want the same thing. Y'all the shit. Let's keep it going.
We plan on doing that, guy. Thanks again, man. He's having a problem with his throwing. The person that when we had Shice on last week, my man E that pulled together the studio requested to come on also. We talked about it, so we'll talk. Maybe we'll see how things are looking. We'll get him on to talk about what he's doing as far as the studio and all that other kind of good stuff.
Okay, Black, sound good.